The anomaly appeared without warning. Deep space sensors across Earth's Kuiper Belt detection network registered the massive gravitational distortion simultaneously, their quantum processors immediately recognizing a pattern that humanity had spent centuries preparing for. First contact was no longer theoretical. Admiral Sarah Chen stood motionless in the Global Defense Command's primary chamber, her weathered features illuminated by the massive holographic display showing the approaching vessels. Hundreds of ships, each larger than anything humanity had ever publicly acknowledged building, emerged from what the Kuiper sensors classified as a controlled space-time rupture. Their hull configurations matched none of the theoretical models Earth's xenologists had developed over the years. "Signal incoming, Admiral," Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez reported, his hands dancing across the neural interface of his station. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies." Chen nodded, her expression carefully neutral. "Let's hear what our visitors have to say." The message filled the command center, transmitted in perfect English. "Primitive species of Earth, I am Supreme Commander Vexthor of the Zaxxon Empire. Your world has been chosen for integration into our dominion. Your technological development has been monitored, and we find you adequately advanced to serve as a productive member of our empire. Resist and face extinction. You have one planetary rotation to submit your surrender." A smile tugged at the corner of Chen's mouth, but she suppressed it. Everything was proceeding exactly as the Sanctuary Protocol had predicted centuries ago. Earth's carefully cultivated image as a struggling Type 1 civilization had worked perfectly. "Send no response," she ordered. "Maintain emissions control protocols. Let them think we're scrambling in panic." Around the solar system, humanity's true defensive capabilities remained hidden behind quantum camouflage fields that had been perfected over generations. The primitive satellites in Earth orbit were merely shells, concealing technology that would make the Zaxxon Empire's most advanced systems look like children's toys. In the asteroid belt, Fleet Admiral James Okonjo supervised final preparations aboard the ESS Humanity's Dawn, Earth's first Transcendence-class carrier. Its kilometers-long hull was invisible to conventional sensors, cloaked by fields that bent both light and space-time itself. Similar ships waited in strategic positions throughout the solar system, their crews calm and prepared. This was the moment they had trained for since childhood. "Status report," Okonjo commanded, his deep voice carrying across the carrier's bridge. "All systems nominal." "Sir," his XO, Commander Yuki Tanaka, responded. "The Zaxxon fleet is proceeding exactly as projected. Their scan patterns indicate they're completely buying our technological facade. They haven't detected any of our actual defensive systems." Okonjo nodded, studying the tactical display. The Zaxxon ships were arranging themselves in a standard conquest formation, spreading out to establish firing positions around Earth. Their confidence was obvious in their positioning. They clearly expected no meaningful resistance. Back in the Global Defense Command, Admiral Chen received updates from Earth's hidden defense networks. The quantum entanglement communicators operated in perfect silence, invisible to the Zaxxon's scanning technology. Every buried antimatter reactor, every orbital defense platform disguised as debris, every automated defense system hidden beneath the ocean floors, all reported ready status. "They're launching scout ships," Rodriguez reported. "Standard search pattern. They're focusing on our visible infrastructure." "Let them look," Chen replied. "Maintain emissions control. Let them see exactly what we want them to see." The Zaxxon scouts darted through Earth's orbital space, their sensors prodding the planet's defenses. They recorded what appeared to be primitive chemical rockets, basic communication satellites, and early-stage energy weapons. Their scans showed power systems based on nuclear fission and early fusion, nothing that could hope to challenge their supremacy. What they couldn't detect were the quantum-locked defense platforms hidden in plain sight. They had no way of knowing that every primitive satellite they scanned contained enough computational power to run a small city, or that Earth's apparent radio communications were merely a cover for their actual faster-than-light quantum network. In high orbit, Supreme Commander Vexthor reviewed the scout reports with growing satisfaction. His massive flagship, nearly the size of Earth's moon, held position beyond the planet's satellite network. "These humans are even more primitive than our initial surveys suggested," he declared to his bridge crew. "Their most advanced weapons wouldn't even scratch our secondary shields." His tactical officer, Sub-Commander Zexra, seemed less certain. "Supreme Commander, something about their defense pattern seems odd. Their satellites are positioned too perfectly, almost as if what, Sub-Commander?" Vexthor's tone carried a warning. "Are you suggesting these primitives could pose a threat to the mighty Zaxxon Empire? They still use chemical propulsion for their spacecraft. Their most advanced computers use silicon processors. They haven't even developed basic shield technology." "Of course not, Supreme Commander. I merely..." "Enough. Prepare the fleet for combat formation. When their time limit expires, we will show them the price of refusing to submit to their betters." As the Zaxxon fleet maneuvered into attack positions, humanity's leaders gathered in the secure chambers deep beneath the Himalayas. Representatives from Earth's unified government sat around a circular table, watching the enemy's movements on holographic displays. Director Elizabeth Makey of the Global Science Council addressed her colleagues. "The Zaxxons are proceeding exactly as our behavioral models predicted. Their empire's psychological profile indicates a deep-seated belief in their technological superiority. They literally cannot conceive of the possibility that we might be more advanced. And this blindness will be their undoing," Chen added. "Their entire tactical doctrine is based on overwhelming primitive civilizations through superior technology. They have no concept of how to fight an enemy with capabilities beyond their own." The next few hours passed in tense silence as the Zaxxon fleet completed their battle formation. On Earth, military personnel calmly went about their duties in hidden bases around the globe. Pilots ran final checks on aerospace fighters that incorporated technology centuries beyond anything the Zaxxons possessed. Defense platform crews monitored their systems, waiting for the order to reveal Earth's true capabilities. As the deadline approached, Supreme Commander Vexthor prepared to deliver Earth's death sentence. His fleet of over 1,000 ships had arranged themselves in the Zaxxon Empire's standard conquest formation, a display of force that had broken the will of countless civilizations. He had no way of knowing that he was about to learn why humanity had spent centuries preparing for this exact moment. The greatest military force in known space was about to discover that appearances could be deceiving, and that humanity's greatest strength lay in letting their enemies underestimate them. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. Maya Patel watched streams of data flow across her quantum displays in the Atlantis Command Center. The massive underwater facility, hidden from the Zaxxons' primitive scanning technology, housed some of humanity's most advanced defensive systems. As chief of weapons development, she had spent decades perfecting technologies that the enemy couldn't even imagine existing. "Quantum shield grid is at full power," she reported through the secure network. "All subsea defensive platforms show green status. The Zaxxons still haven't detected our gravimetric distortion field." In low Earth orbit, what appeared to be a defunct weather satellite silently tracked the movements of the Zaxxon fleet. Inside its seemingly primitive housing, Lieutenant Commander Kai Chen, no relation to the Admiral, monitored the enemy's communications through quantum interceptors that could decode their most secure transmissions in real time. "They're getting impatient," Kai reported to Global Command. "Their tactical officers are arguing about our lack of response. Some of them think we're paralyzed with fear. Others suspect a trap, but they're being ignored." Supreme Commander Vexthor paced his bridge, his irritation growing with each passing moment. The human silence was becoming unsettling. Every civilization they had conquered before had either surrendered immediately or launched some futile last-minute defense. This quiet waiting was unprecedented. "Launch another scan of their orbital defense network," he ordered. "I want to know what these primitives are planning." Sub-Commander Zexra complied, but her unease was growing. Supreme Commander, I've analyzed their satellite deployment pattern again. There's something about their positioning that suggests. That suggests what? Vex Thor snapped. Their satellites are primitive communication relays and crude spy platforms. Their positions are random, reflecting their limited understanding of orbital mechanics. But Zexra had spent her career studying defense patterns, and something about Earth's apparent disarray nagged at her tactical instincts. The positions seemed too precise in their imperfection, like a carefully composed work of art meant to appear accidental. In the asteroid belt, Fleet Admiral Okonjo received updated intelligence from Earth's quantum network. The Zaxxon fleet's positioning was creating gaps in their formation, gaps that exactly matched the predictions of Earth's strategic AI systems. The enemy's tactical doctrine was playing out precisely as expected. Begin silent deployment of Phase 2 units, Okonjo ordered. Throughout the solar system, ships that appeared to be nothing more than chunks of space rock began to move with deliberate precision, their quantum drives completely undetectable to Zaxxon sensors. On Mars, Colonel Sarah Martinez supervised final preparations at the Olympus base, carved into the heart of the massive volcano. The facility's fusion reactors powered up, feeding energy into weapons systems that had never been tested in actual combat. They hadn't needed to be. The simulations running on Earth's quantum computers had refined them to perfection. All Martian defense grid elements report ready. Martines transmitted through the quantum network. Gravitic lance platforms are charged and targeting solutions are locked. The enemy's shield frequencies have been fully analyzed. Back on Earth, Admiral Chen received status reports from defensive installations hidden across the planet. The Antarctica Command Center, buried deep beneath the ice, confirmed that its antimatter production facilities were operating at peak efficiency. The Sahara base reported that its quantum field generators were maintaining full coverage of Earth's atmospheric approach vectors. In the Himalayan Command Center, Director Mbeki reviewed the latest psychological analysis of the Zaxxon command structure. Their hierarchy is rigid, she explained to the assembled leaders. They're literally incapable of adapting quickly to unexpected situations. Their entire military doctrine is based on overwhelming force against inferior opponents. They have no protocols for facing a technologically superior enemy. Because they've never had to develop any, Chen added. Their empire expanded by conquering less advanced civilizations. They've never encountered anyone who could challenge their technological superiority. Until now, Mbeki smiled. The hours continued to pass. Across Earth's surface, civilians went about their daily routines, completely aware of the alien fleet positioning itself for attack. There was no panic, no chaos. Humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment. Every child grew up knowing that one day, Earth would face its first major extraterrestrial threat, and they grew up knowing that humanity was ready. In orbit, the Zaxxon scout ships continued their patrols, their crews growing increasingly frustrated by their inability to detect any significant defensive preparations. They recorded what appeared to be increased radio traffic between Earth's major military installations, primitive communications that their systems could easily intercept and decode. The messages spoke of panic, of rushed preparations, of desperate plans to use nuclear weapons against the invading fleet. What the Zaxxons couldn't know was that these transmissions were elaborate deceptions, carefully crafted to reinforce their preconceptions. Earth's actual military communications flowed through the quantum network, completely invisible to any known detection technology. As the deadline drew closer, Supreme Commander Vex Thor prepared his fleet for what he assumed would be a brief and glorious conquest. His ships carried enough firepower to reduce Earth's surface to slag, but that wouldn't be necessary. A few precise strikes against their primary military installations would be enough to force their surrender. Target their largest military bases, he ordered. Once they see their defenses swept aside, they will understand the futility of resistance. Throughout the solar system, humanity's defenders continued their silent preparations. In hidden bases, pilots ran final checks on aerospace fighters that incorporated technologies the Zaxxons would consider impossible. Defense platform crews monitored quantum shield generators that could absorb and redirect energy in ways that would violate the enemy's understanding of physics. And in the Global Defense Command, Admiral Chen watched the enemy fleet's final positioning with grim satisfaction. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The Zaxxon Empire was about to learn a harsh lesson about the danger of underestimating humanity. The deadline passed. Supreme Commander Vexthor stood on his bridge, satisfaction evident in his posture as he gave the order that had brought countless civilizations to their knees. Begin the demonstration strike. Target their largest military installation. Across his fleet, massive energy weapons powered up, their destructive potential enough to vaporize cities. The target was a sprawling military base in the North American continent, or what appeared to be one. As the Zaxxon weapons reached full charge, Vexthor allowed himself a moment of pity for the primitives who had refused his generous offer. "Fire," he commanded. Brilliant beams of energy lanced down from the fleet, converging on the target. The Zaxxons expected to see explosions, devastation, the beginning of Earth's swift defeat. Instead, something impossible happened. The energy beams struck what appeared to be open air and stopped. A hemisphere of swirling, iridescent energy became visible over the base, absorbing the attack completely. Before the stunned Zaxxons could react, the shield pulsed, and their own weapon energy was reflected back at them, amplified tenfold. Impossible. Vexthor roared as dozens of his ship's shields collapsed under the reversed attack. Their technology level, they couldn't possibly. Multiple new contacts. Zexra shouted, her tactical displays suddenly alive with signals. All around Earth, what had appeared to be debris, defunct satellites, and simple communications platforms transformed. Quantum camouflage fields dropped, revealing advanced weapon platforms that made the Zaxxon fleet's armaments look primitive in comparison. Admiral Chen's voice echoed through every Zaxxon communication channel, her tone calm and professional. "Attention, Zaxxon fleet. You have entered restricted space and demonstrated hostile intent. This is your only warning. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences of your actions." In the asteroid belt, Fleet Admiral Okanjo gave the order that Earth's forces had waited generations to hear. All ships execute Protocol Omega. Show them what humanity can really do. What appeared to be ordinary asteroids rippled and transformed. Advanced warships emerged, their hulls covered in materials that absorbed all sensor scans. Aerospace fighters poured from hidden bays, their quantum drives allowing them to ignore the conventional laws of inertia. The real Earth fleet revealed itself, and it was nothing like the primitive vessels the Zaxxons had expected to face. How? Vexthor demanded as his tactical displays showed impossible readings. Their ships, they're using technology we've never seen before. Lieutenant Commander Kai, Chen's voice cut through the Zaxxon command channel, their supposedly unbreakable encryption worthless against Earth's quantum computers. Did you really think humanity would advertise its true capabilities? We've been watching your empire expand for centuries, learning your weaknesses, preparing for this moment. The first wave of Earth fighters engaged the Zaxxon fleet. Their pilots, linked to their craft through neural interfaces far beyond anything the Empire possessed, moved with impossible precision. Energy weapons that the Zaxxons had never encountered before sliced through their shields, as if they didn't exist. From beneath Earth's oceans, massive platforms rose into the air, defying gravity through technologies the Empire couldn't comprehend. Dr. Patel's voice was steady as she gave the order. Activate the gravitic disruption field. Waves of invisible force rippled out from the platforms, targeting the Zaxxon ships' drive systems with precise gravitational distortions. Ships that had been preparing to fire found their carefully plotted targeting solutions suddenly worthless as space itself seemed to twist around them. On Mars, Colonel Martinez watched her targeting displays light up. Olympus base, weapons free. Show them what our gravitic lances can do. Beams of concentrated gravitational force lanced out from the Martian surface, invisible until they struck their targets. Where they hit, Zaxxon ships simply imploded, crushed by forces their shields were never designed to resist. Fall back. Vexthor ordered, his mighty fleet already in chaos. Regroup at the secondary position. But his ship's engines struggled against the gravitic disruption field, their movements sluggish and uncoordinated. Earth's defenders pressed their advantage. Fighters darted between the larger Zaxxon vessels, their quantum shields absorbing enemy fire while their advanced weapons struck with surgical precision. Larger Earth warships revealed themselves, their size rivaling the Zaxxon capital ships, but incorporating technologies centuries more advanced. From her command post, Admiral Chen watched the battle unfold exactly as their simulations had predicted. Launch Phase 3, she ordered. Let's show them everything. Throughout the solar system, more of humanity's hidden capabilities revealed themselves. Defensive platforms around every major planet activated, creating a web of quantum fields that trapped the Zaxxon ships in place. Specialized vessels emerged from dimensional pockets that the Empire's sensors couldn't detect, carrying weapons that operated on principles their scientists had never imagined. This is impossible, Vexthor muttered, watching his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled by the very primitives he had come to conquer. They were supposed to be centuries behind us. Their technology, it violates everything we know about physics. No, Zexra corrected, finally understanding. We violated everything we knew about strategy. We assumed technological advancement would be obvious, that any civilization with power would display it openly. They played us perfectly. The battle continued, but it wasn't really a battle anymore. It was a demonstration. Earth's forces weren't just defeating the Zaxxon fleet. They were systematically showing them just how outclassed they truly were. Every engagement revealed new technologies, new capabilities that the Empire had never dreamed possible. Humanity's defenders moved with perfect coordination, their actions guided by quantum-linked AI systems that could process combat data faster than organic minds could comprehend. Their weapons struck with precise force, deliberately disabling rather than destroying when possible. This wasn't just a victory, it was a message to the galaxy. As the last of his ship's secondary systems failed, Supreme Commander Vexthor finally understood. Humanity hadn't been hiding their weakness, they had been hiding their strength. And in doing so, they had achieved something unprecedented. They had defeated the mighty Zaxxon Empire before the first shot was even fired. Fleet Admiral Okonjo watched from the bridge of humanity's dawn, as Earth's forces executed their long-planned counteroffensive. The massive carrier's quantum engines hummed silently as it moved through space, its advanced systems coordinating the attacks of hundreds of smaller vessels. Launch the second wave of fighters, he ordered. Show them what our Phantom Squadron can really do. From the carrier's dimensional launch bays, aerospace fighters emerged directly into quantum tunnels, appearing instantly behind the Zaxxon fleet's defensive line. These weren't the primitive chemical rockets the enemy had expected. They were craft that could manipulate space-time itself. Impossible, as Zaxxon commander's voice crackled through their compromised communications. They're fighters. They're teleporting. They're passing through our shields as if they don't exist. They weren't teleporting. They were using principles of quantum mechanics that the Zaxxon Empire wouldn't discover for centuries. Earth's fighters struck with devastating precision, their weapons targeted by AI systems that could predict enemy movements before they happened. In the Himalayan Command Center, Director Mbeki monitored the quantum data streams flowing through Earth's defense network. Their fleet psychology is crumbling, she reported. Their rigid command structure can't adapt to fighting an enemy with superior technology. They have no protocols for this situation. Admiral Chen nodded, watching the tactical displays. Initiate Phase 4. Let's show them why humanity chose to hide its strength for so long. Throughout the solar system, new weapons platforms revealed themselves. What the Zaxxons had dismissed as simple research stations on various moons transformed. quantum camouflage falling away to reveal massive defensive installations. Dr. Patel's voice came through the quantum network from the Atlantis Command Center, activating the solar dampening field now. Let's see how their ships handle fighting in true darkness. Across the battlefield, precisely targeted quantum fields began absorbing photons. Patches of space became utterly dark, invisible to both normal vision and the Zaxxons' sensor systems. Their fleet, already in disarray, found itself fighting blind in artificial patches of midnight. But Earth's forces could see perfectly. Their quantum sensors didn't rely on electromagnetic radiation, operating on principles that the Zaxxon Empire had never imagined possible. In the darkness, humanity's ships struck with even greater precision. "This is a nightmare," Vex Thor muttered, watching his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled. "Their technology, it's beyond anything in known space. How could we have missed this?" Lieutenant Commander Kai Chen's voice answered him through his own command channel. "You missed it because you wanted to miss it. Your empire's arrogance made you see what you expected to see, a primitive civilization ready for conquest. You never considered that we might be letting you think that." On Mars, Colonel Martinez watched as the Olympus base's primary weapon reached full power. "Initiating quantum field inversion," she announced. "Target their flagship's drive systems." A beam of concentrated quantum energy lanced out from the Martian surface. Where it struck Vex Thor's flagship, space itself seemed to twist. The mighty vessel's engines, based on principles that humanity had surpassed centuries ago, simply ceased to function. "Direct hit," Martins reported. "Their primary power systems are offline. They're operating on emergency backup only." From hidden bases across the solar system, more of Earth's true fleet emerged. Ships that dwarfed anything the Zaxxons had brought, incorporating technologies that the Empire's greatest scientists would consider impossible. They moved with perfect coordination, their actions guided by quantum-linked AI systems that could process combat data faster than organic minds could comprehend. This isn't just defeat, Zexra realized, watching Earth's forces systematically neutralize their fleet's remaining capabilities. This is a demonstration. They're showing us exactly how far behind them we really are. She was right. Every engagement revealed new technologies, new capabilities that the Empire had never dreamed possible. Earth's defenders weren't just winning. They were deliberately showing the Zaxxons the full extent of their technological superiority. From the quantum research facilities hidden beneath Europa's ice, Dr. Sarah Chen, the Admiral's daughter, activated the final phase of humanity's defensive plan. "Quantum entanglement field stabilized," she reported, initiating system-wide consciousness link. Suddenly, every human defender, whether in a fighter, on a capital ship, or at a defense platform, became part of a vast quantum network. Their thoughts and actions synchronized with impossible precision, guided by AI systems that could process information faster than light itself. The effect on the battlefield was immediate and devastating. Earth's forces began moving with such perfect coordination that they seemed to predict the Zaxxons' actions before they happened. Because they did, their quantum-linked systems could calculate probable enemy movements microseconds in advance. "Signal the Titan Squadron," Admiral Chen ordered. "It's time to end this." From their hidden positions in the Kuiper Belt, Earth's most powerful warships began their approach. Each one was a masterpiece of human engineering, incorporating technologies that had been developed in secret over centuries. Their very existence violated what the Zaxxon Empire believed possible. As the Titans revealed themselves, even Vex Thor's iron composure finally broke. These ships weren't just larger or more advanced than his own. They represented a level of technological achievement that his empire's best scientists had deemed theoretically impossible. "How?" he whispered, watching the massive vessels approach. "How could you have hidden all of this?" "Because we understood something your empire never did," Admiral Chen replied through his command channel. "True strength lies not in displaying your power, but in knowing when to keep it hidden." We've been watching your empire expand for centuries, learning your weaknesses, preparing for this moment, and now you understand why. The Titans opened fire, their quantum weapons cutting through space itself. Where their beams struck, Zaxxon ships simply ceased to exist, their very atoms scattered across multiple dimensions. It wasn't a battle anymore. It was a lesson being written in light and energy, a message to the galaxy about the true nature of human technological achievement. Supreme Commander Vexthor stood in Earth's Global Defense Command Center, his proud bearing now replaced by shocked humility. Through the quantum-enhanced viewing screens, he watched as human ships efficiently disabled the remaining pockets of resistance from his once mighty fleet. Not destroying, disabling. Even in victory, humanity showed remarkable restraint. "You could have destroyed us completely," he said quietly to Admiral Chen. "Why didn't you?" "Because that's not who we are," Chen replied, studying holographic displays showing the battle's aftermath. "Humanity didn't spend centuries hiding our capabilities just so we could dominate others. We did it to protect ourselves, and to be ready to protect others when the time came." Director Mbeki approached, holding a quantum tablet displaying real-time analysis of communications from across the Zaxxon Empire. "Their entire power structure is in chaos," she reported. "The news of their fleet's defeat is spreading faster than their sensors can contain it. Centuries of assumed technological superiority, shattered in a single day." In orbit, Fleet Admiral Okonjo coordinated the final phases of the operation from humanity's dawn. Earth ships gently towed disabled Zaxxon vessels to safe positions, their quantum fields preventing any attempted self-destruction. Medical teams were already deploying to treat injured Zaxxon crew members, using advanced healing technologies that seemed like magic to the Empire's doctors. "Your medical technology," Sub-Commander Zexra observed from her position near Vexthor, watching the casualty reports. "You're saving crews that our own doctors would have declared unsalvageable. Even now, you're showing us how far ahead you truly are." Dr. Patel's voice came through the quantum network from the Atlantis Command Center. "We've compiled the initial analysis of their technology. It's fascinating. They developed along completely different theoretical paths than we did. There's actually quite a bit we could learn from each other." That was the moment Vexthor finally understood. "You're not going to punish us, are you? Even after we tried to conquer you, you're going to offer to help us advance." "Of course," Chen smiled. "That's the other reason we kept our capabilities hidden. We wanted to be sure that when we finally revealed ourselves to the galaxy, we would be advanced enough to help guide other civilizations rather than dominate them." On Mars, Colonel Martinez oversaw the careful deactivation of the Olympus base's weapon systems. The massive facilities began transforming, quantum machinery reconfiguring itself. What had been one of humanity's most powerful defensive installations was becoming something else, a center for technological and cultural exchange. "The first diplomatic delegations are ready," she reported through the quantum network. "Representatives from every major Earth nation are prepared to begin discussions with the Zaxxon leadership." From her research station beneath Europa's ice, Dr. Sarah Chen monitored the quantum consciousness network as it adjusted to include willing Zaxxon participants. "Their minds are adapting to the quantum link remarkably well," she noted. "Their potential for advancement is incredible once freed from their empire's rigid structures." Throughout the solar system, the true scope of humanity's achievement was becoming clear. Hidden facilities that had maintained Earth's deception for centuries now revealed their secondary purposes, not just as defensive installations, but as centers of learning and advancement that could help guide other civilizations toward a more enlightened future. Lieutenant Commander Kai Chen's voice carried a note of satisfaction as he reported from his orbital station. "We're picking up transmissions from across known space. News of what happened here is spreading faster than light itself. Every civilization that feared the Zaxxon Empire is watching, realizing that everything they believed about the balance of power in the galaxy just changed." In the Himalayan Command Center, the Earth Defense Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from every nation gathered to discuss humanity's next steps. The screen showed similar meetings taking place across human space, from the lunar colonies to the research bases in the Kuiper Belt. Today marks a new era. Admiral Chen addressed the Council, not just for humanity, but for all spacefaring civilizations. We've hidden our true nature for centuries, advancing in secret while appearing primitive. Now we can finally step into the light and help guide the galaxy toward a better future. Director Mbiki's quantum displays showed the reactions spreading across known space. Other civilizations are already reaching out, she reported. Some seeking protection, others offering alliance. They all want to know the same thing. How did humanity advance so far without anyone noticing? We advanced so far because no one noticed, Chen replied. Because we understood that true progress comes not from displaying power, but from the patient advancement of knowledge and understanding. We didn't hide our capabilities out of fear, but out of wisdom. Vexthor looked out at Earth through the command center's windows, seeing the planet with new eyes. Where before he had seen a primitive world ripe for conquest, now he saw the home of a civilization that had transcended his empire's understanding of what was possible. Your deception was perfect, he admitted. Every primitive satellite, every simple radio transmission, every apparent technological limitation, all carefully crafted to hide your true capabilities. We never stood a chance, did we? No, Chen agreed. But that's not what matters now. What matters is what comes next. Your empire stands at a crossroads. You can cling to your old beliefs about power and dominance, or you can join us in building something greater. Above Earth, the last of the disabled Zaxxon ships were being secured. Human medical teams continued their work, healing injuries that the Empire's doctors had considered fatal. In research stations across the solar system, scientists prepared to share carefully selected technologies that would help the Zaxxon civilization advance responsibly. The greatest victory humanity had achieved wasn't in defeating the Zaxxon fleet. It was in proving that technological superiority didn't have to lead to domination. That true strength lay not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when to show mercy and the patience to guide others toward a better path. As the sun rose over Earth, its light reflected off the quantum shields of ships from two civilizations working together in orbit. It was indeed a new dawn, not just for humanity and the Zaxxon Empire, but for the entire galaxy. The age of deception was over. The age of guidance had begun.